Imagine strolling through the charming streets of Europe, surrounded by breathtaking architecture and rich history, only to uncover a shocking truth lurking beneath the surface. What if the very countries you admire for their culture and beauty are also some of the most racist places on the continent? Brace yourself as we reveal the top 12 most racist countries in Europe, exposing the alarming and hidden realities that will leave you stunned. You won't believe which nations made the list and the shocking stories that will challenge everything you thought you knew about these iconic destinations. Welcome to our channel, where we delve deep into the hidden truths and untold stories of our world. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our eye-opening content. And if you find this video insightful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Racism in Europe is a complex and multifaceted issue, deeply rooted in historical, social, and political contexts. While Europe is often seen as a beacon of democracy and human rights, it is also home to some of the most alarming incidents of racial discrimination and xenophobia. From systemic biases in law enforcement to overt acts of violence and hate speech, racism manifests in various forms across the continent. Over the years, various reports and studies have highlighted the pervasive nature of racism in Europe. Organizations like the European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights, FRA, and Human Rights Watch have documented numerous cases of racial discrimination, hate crimes, and anti-immigrant sentiments. These issues are often exacerbated by economic disparities, political instability, and the rise of far-right movements. In this video, we aim to shed light on the countries where racism is not just a sporadic occurrence, but a deeply ingrained societal problem. Our ranking is based on multiple factors, including documented hate crimes, reports from human rights organizations, public opinion surveys, and the prevalence of far-right extremist groups. As we count down from number 12 to number 1, prepare to be both shocked and informed by the startling realities that lie beneath the surface of these European nations. Countdown of top 12 most racist countries in Europe. Let's dive in and uncover the top 12 most racist countries in Europe. 12. Italy. Italy, a country renowned for its art, architecture, and rich cultural heritage, conceals a troubling undercurrent of racism. In recent years, the picturesque streets of Rome, Milan, and Naples have witnessed a surge in racially motivated violence and discrimination, particularly targeting African migrants. The plight of these individuals is exacerbated by far-right political groups that fan the flames of anti-immigrant sentiment, portraying migrants as threats to national security and cultural identity. This hostile environment has led to harrowing incidents where people are attacked simply for the color of their skin, making Italy a land of paradox where beauty and bigotry coexist uneasily. 11. Greece. Amidst the ancient ruins and stunning coastlines of Greece lies a disturbing reality of growing xenophobia and racism. The economic turmoil and refugee crisis have fueled a significant rise in racial intolerance, with hate crimes against immigrants, especially those from the Middle East and Africa, becoming alarmingly frequent. In Athens and other major cities, migrants live in constant fear of attacks from extremist groups. This is compounded by a political climate where nationalist rhetoric often dominates public discourse, painting a bleak picture for those seeking refuge and a better life in this historically rich nation. 10. Hungary. Hungary, known for its beautiful landscapes and historic cities, is grappling with a severe issue of racial discrimination. The government's harsh stance on immigration has fostered an environment of hostility towards minorities, particularly the Roma people and asylum seekers. Far-right political factions and their vehement anti-immigrant rhetoric have legitimized xenophobic attitudes, leading to systemic discrimination in housing, employment, and education. The societal exclusion and frequent harassment of minorities reveal a troubling side of Hungary that starkly contrasts with its picturesque facade. 9. Poland. Poland's picturesque cities and rich cultural tapestry hide a disturbing rise in nationalism and xenophobia. Hate crimes and racial discrimination, particularly against people of African and Middle Eastern descent, have surged. Far-right groups openly target minorities, spreading fear and hostility. Even more troubling is the apparent indifference or at times complicity of authorities in addressing these issues. The pervasive anti-immigrant sentiment and frequent incidents of racial violence paint a chilling picture of a nation struggling with deep-seated racial tensions. 8. Austria. Beneath Austria's serene alpine scenery and cultural charm lies a troubling reality of racism. Anti-Semitic incidents and discrimination against Muslims are alarmingly prevalent. Far-right political movements have gained significant traction, further stoking the fires of racial intolerance. Minority groups frequently face harassment and violence, with reports of hate crimes on the rise. The dichotomy between Austria's idyllic image and the harsh experiences of its minorities highlights a profound societal challenge that demands urgent attention. 7. France. France, a nation synonymous with liberty, equality, and fraternity, is grappling with profound racial tensions. The banlieues, or suburban areas, are often epicenters of racial discrimination and violence, particularly against Muslims and people of African descent. High-profile cases of police brutality and systemic biases have sparked widespread protests and debates about racism. Despite its revolutionary ideals, France's struggle with racial equality reveals a complex and often harsh reality for its minority populations, challenging the country to live up to its foundational principles. 6. Belgium. Belgium, the heart of the European Union, faces significant challenges with racism, particularly against African immigrants and Muslims. Racial profiling by the police, discrimination in the job market, and exclusion in housing are pervasive issues. Far-right political groups have capitalized on these tensions, amplifying xenophobic rhetoric and creating an increasingly hostile environment for minorities. The stark contrast between Belgium's role as a diplomatic hub and its internal racial struggles paints a sobering picture of a nation divided. 5. Netherlands. The Netherlands, often celebrated for its liberal and tolerant society, harbors a hidden problem with racism. Reports of racial discrimination in employment, housing, and education are widespread, revealing a less publicized side of Dutch society. Anti-immigrant rhetoric from certain political parties has fueled a rise in hate crimes, targeting minorities and creating a climate of fear. This undercurrent of intolerance stands in stark contrast to the Netherlands' international image, highlighting the complex and often contradictory nature of societal attitudes towards race. 4. Germany. Germany, despite its concerted efforts to overcome its dark past, continues to face significant issues with racism. The arrival of refugees in recent years has ignited a surge in xenophobic attacks and far-right extremism. Incidents of violence against immigrants, particularly those from the Middle East and Africa, have become distressingly common. The resurgence of far-right political groups and their inflammatory rhetoric exacerbate these tensions, challenging Germany's efforts to foster a more inclusive and tolerant society. 3. Russia. Russia is notorious for its severe racial discrimination and xenophobia, with hate crimes against people from Central Asia, the Caucasus, and Africa disturbingly common. The lack of stringent anti-discrimination laws and a government often indifferent to these issues only exacerbate the problem. Ethnic minorities frequently face violence, harassment, and systemic exclusion. This stark reality paints a grim picture of life for non-Slavic residents in Russia, revealing a society deeply divided along racial lines. 2. Czech Republic. The Czech Republic has seen a rise in racial tensions, particularly against Roma people and immigrants. Discrimination in housing, education, and employment is rampant, making life incredibly challenging for minorities. Far-right groups frequently organize rallies and protests, spreading xenophobic ideologies. The prevalence of such groups and the societal acceptance of discriminatory attitudes highlight a deeply rooted problem that threatens the fabric of Czech society. 1. Ukraine. Ukraine tops our list due to the pervasive nature of racism and xenophobia. Reports of hate crimes, particularly against people from Africa and Asia, are alarmingly high. The ongoing conflict and economic instability have only worsened the situation, making Ukraine a challenging place for minorities to live. The hostility faced by immigrants and ethnic minorities is compounded by a lack of effective legal protection, painting a dire picture of racial intolerance in the country. These shocking revelations remind us that racism is a global issue that requires our collective effort to combat. If you found this video informative, please share it to spread awareness. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. What can we do to fight racism in Europe and beyond? Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more eye-opening content and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time we upload a new video. Together we can make a difference.